was wearing a watch. If he had a watch, why ask a random kid what time it was? Something wasn't right, and I finally decided to listen to my gut. I decided to walk past my house. Trigger warning: attempted harm to minors high. This happened like 20-ish years ago when I was maybe 9 or 10, but it still keeps me up every now and then. I was on my way home from school, taking the tram, since my school was fairly far away from my house. At the time, I didn't have a phone or watch yet, so I looked out of the window when we stopped near the church tower to see what time it was. After we departed for the next stop, a middle-aged balding man in a brown coat approached me and asked me if I'd got the time, seeing as I had just looked at the clock outside. I told him what time it was, and that is where most interactions would end, but then he sat down next to me. At that point, I hadn't really known much of stranger danger, but in my culture it's not even that common to talk on the tram, so it wasn't something I was used to. He chatted with me and seemed friendly enough, but at some point he asked me, "So what station do you get off?" I told him the station, and he got excited and said something along the lines of, "No way. Me too. Call it instinct." But my gut told me that something wasn't right, and I wish I had listened. He got off the tram with me and continued to walk. There was something weird about the way he talked. He just seemed too eager to get to know me, while I kept my answers brief. At this point, he had been walking next to me for 5 blocks. I was pretty sure he wasn't one of my neighbors, because I knew almost all of them at least a little bit. As he walked next to me and his arm swung up, I also noticed he was wearing a watch. If he had a watch, why ask a random kid what time it was? Something wasn't right, and I finally decided to listen to my gut. I decided to walk past my house, since I figured that whoever this guy was, I didn't want him to know where I lived. He continued asking questions, and I walked toward the playground in the middle of our apartment blocks. None of the other apartments had their main entrance on that side, so I knew for a fact that he wasn't just walking home himself. Then he grabbed my arm. I was terrified. He told me, "You are a beautiful boy. Do you know that?" Before I could react, he tried to reach under my shirt. I screamed in his face, and that seemed to startle him. He let go, and I took that chance and ran as fast as I possibly could. I ran across to another building block, around second one, and then went to my door from the other side, so I wouldn't run into him again. I locked the door to the apartment complex, which we shouldn't do in case of emergencies, but I didn't care at the time. I went home and calmed down, but every time I went on that tram, I kept looking for him. Luckily, I never saw him on the tram or around my neighborhood again. But to the guy with a watch, pretending to not know the time to get closer to a little kid, let's not meet again.